environmental impact of this disaster is likely to have been very, very modest. It's impossible to say, and we will mount, as part of the aftermath, a very detailed environmental assessment as we go forward. But everything we can see at the moment suggests that the overall environmental impact of this will be very, very modest.
Perhaps modest over in England, but in this hemisphere over here, the Gulf of Mexico is turning to oil. Look at that map. We're showing how it could follow the loop current, as it's called, up the East Coast and destroy the East Coast as well. Let me bring on an expert before you, Joan. Let's hear from Michael Brune. What do you make, first of all, of the politics of this Rush Limbaugh, who seems to be, as of this moment, still the recognized head of the Republican Party on matters everywhere? What do you make of him blaming you for the oil spill?
You know, Rush Limbaugh is always good for a good belly laugh. You know, we think that the issue here is what BP is saying. It just shows that their recklessness doesn't extends well beyond their oil drilling. I was down in the Gulf, and the pollution that we're seeing there, the oil plume that's just on the surface, it goes for miles and miles and miles, and it is a disaster through and through.
Well, let me ask you about this, do you think they're doing a good job? I mean, I don't think they're doing anything, but what do you think they're doing? Is there technology available, perhaps at great cost, dumping huge amounts of cement, for example, on that site? Isn't there something we would do if we thought there was a nuclear bomb ready to go off down there? Wouldn't we take extreme steps? I don't sense they're operating as if this is an extreme problem. They're sort of doing their best, I suppose, but they're not doing it.
No, they're not doing it. But to be fair, there are workers for BP and for others right now who are working around the clock to try to fix this. The reality is that you can't contain a mess of this size. It's very difficult because it's never been done before, and that's why the Sierra Club has been arguing for decades that offshore oil drilling in shallow or deep water is highly risky, and we can't drill our way to energy independence. And so we need to be focusing on a real solution to America's oil addiction, and hopefully that will come as a result of this disaster.
Okay, look, I'm worried about what's happening, what we're watching now, not the long-term problem. I want that fixed. I don't know why we can't fix it. Joan, why can't we fix it? Are they doing it their best?
I think they are doing their best. I have no evidence, Chris, that anybody is you know, holding back, that there's more that could be done. And I kind of defer to Michael on this one. I think that they're trying very hard. I think people are working hard, but it's too late. And the really horrible thing in all this is that there's been evidence that there was an accident coming. 60 Minutes did an amazing segment on this, showing that they knew that there was some defect with the blowout preventer, and they didn't fix it. They just kept drilling deeper and deeper. And for Rush to say that the Sierra Club wants them to drill deeper is just preposterous. Deeper drilling is riskier drilling. BP pushed to drill deeper without safety controls, and they are completely culpable for this.
Why didn't they fill with drilling mud instead of seawater right up the bat? Michael?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Why didn't they fill it with drilling mud before they capped it? They're blaming all this on the BOP, the blow-up preventer. Why didn't they jam all the dirt in there? They used to do it that way. That's the recognized way to do it. Why didn't they do it?
It's standard operating procedure because BP is trying to maximize profits from this particular operation like they try to do everywhere else. They're cutting corners, and now we see what the consequences of that are. The problem, one of the problems here is that there's not effective oversight. There's not an effective regulatory mechanism. Obama was right in saying that the relationship between government regulators and the oil industry is far too cozy. We have to separate oil and state. There's no oversight on a highly risky, a very dangerous, and what we now see is a very deadly process. It's a tragedy for the environment, but it's a tragedy for the families of the workers who were killed.
For my work, Joan, I have no confidence we have regulation by the government. I have no confidence that we have self-regulation here. I have no confidence that they're going to fix this problem. I have only the fear that this is going to go on and on and on, and we're going to destroy our East Coast. It's just going to keep going, and the president's going to sit and watch it like he's a Vatican advisor. At some point, we either move in there, bring the Seabees in, bring, I don't know, know, the Army Corps, whoever we have at our disposal, and I'd like to put all those, I've said it before, I'd like to take those CEOs and put them down there a mile and make them stay down there till the problem's fixed. I know that sounds a bit extreme, but nothing seems to be getting done here, and they're sitting home chomping on their steaks and their profits, and this is still getting worse, and it's getting worse and worse.
It's getting worse and worse, and ridiculously, they're pointing the fingers at one another and saying it's not my fault, it's his fault. You know, I don't want to be cynical about this, Chris. I believe that good government oversight can happen, and I believe that when government pays attention, corporate America pays attention too. They don't want people to die. They want to make money. I know this sounds naive of me. They don't want people to die. This was a horrible thing, and I think it's also unfortunate that President Obama had recently come out and said he supports oil drilling when he knows better. The only way to make sure this doesn't happen is to really crack down on oil drilling. It is unsafe, it is unnecessary, and we'll see more accidents like this if we keep it up.
Okay, let me ask you, Michael, bottom line, are they going to open the cap? Are they going to let these guys off with $75 million?
No, I can't imagine that would happen right now. What we expect, we'll see tighter safety regulations. There'll be a much higher cap. And what we should be seeing is executives like the BP's CEO prosecuted and thrown in jail. This is what's happening in the Gulf is criminal, and there better be accountability.
So what do you think we should do? Do you think to see who else should go to jail? The board of directors, the management, who? Because somebody decided not to follow the regular procedure here.
Right.
It's management. I'm tired of hearing technology being blamed. Management presides over the use of technology.
People.
Everything that's ever gone wrong in this industry has gone wrong before, and they've set up protocols to deal with it. They didn't follow the protocols. They didn't follow the management procedures. That's what happens when things go wrong. This idea, the first time this has ever happened, is crazy. This happens around the world. You got to be ready for it. Joan, this is a political problem for the president. I don't like his laissez-faire attitude about this. I don't like him stepping back and letting the heat go on the oil company when the damage is being done to us, not the oil company.
I think he needs to step back in. I think he had a few days of sounding, you know, very resolute and very much leaning on the oil companies. But, you know, it's the Republicans. I got to say here, Chris, it's the Republicans who are opposed to lifting the liability cap. You know, after they railed against bailouts because Frank Luntz told them Americans don't like bailouts, if it were up to the Republican Party, the taxpayer would be bailing out BP, not the other way around. So I think they've got to fight to make sure that they are responsible for paying for the cleanup, and then they've got to fight for better regulation. And you're right. I do want to see President Obama out more
I want
on
to see
this
Harry
issue.
Truman in the White House right now. I want Harry Truman to come back and do the job, because if this was the coal companies or something else, we really depend on the president would intervene. Thank you, Michael Brune. And get on the stick, Michael, by the way. You don't seem that excited about this. We're counting on guys like you. John Walsh, thank you.